Welcome to the Blessors of Israel Podcast. I'm Matthew Dodd, Executive Director of Blessors of Israel, greeting you from Mount Scopus here in Jerusalem. It's a beautiful day here, and to my right is the Mount of Olives. Behind me is the Old City, and it is such a blessing to be here. Though it's been difficult at times, sirens still continue to go off at different times of the day throughout the country. In fact, I was in Jerusalem during Shabbat, and it was at 10:30 at night. I'm in bed, the sirens go off, and suddenly I'm looking for the shelter to go to, and the hotel was filled with people who were celebrating Shabbat. And I found it very, very interesting that the older men and women, they would begin to sing to the children while in the shelters. And I can see they've become so accustomed to this, unfortunately, over the last 18 months. And it was a way to distract the children, but I think it also was a way to communicate to the children, though Hamas come after us, though Hezbollah or the Houthis come after us, we will not be shaken. And so it almost became a celebration in spite of the fact that they were hiding from the rockets that were fired by the Houthis that specific evening. So very, very interesting. Now, there have also been protests after Shabbat broke Saturday evening. About 100,000 in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv combined were protesting. They want the release of the hostages. In fact, I spoke with a former protester. They had protested recently and in the past as well. And I asked them about why they had protested. And she simply said, I just value life and I want these hostages to come home. Sure, she understands the existential threat that Hamas and Hezbollah pose to Israel, but nevertheless, the value of each individual life. And so it was very fascinating to talk with her. I appreciated the opportunity just to dialogue with her without any tension. Even though she didn't know where I came from, I wanted to learn her perspective. Come, let us reason together. Let's talk about these things, and to hear from her vantage point why she would protest the resuming of the war against Hamas. And it's all about the sanctity, the value of human life. Clearly, Hamas, they do not value life. In fact, they continue to hide in the midst of the population, and so they use their own people as human shields. They're just a means to an end, and so they will do whatever it takes for them to ultimately win. Now, I've heard that there are dialogue that's continuing and that there's a potential for a ceasefire and potentially a moving towards phase 2, but nothing is definite as of the recording of this podcast. So I just wanted to keep you informed. I'm going to be here in Jerusalem until the end of Thursday, and then I fly off to Athens to help assist with a Footsteps of Paul cruise. Looking forward to that, but I wanted to keep you informed. Want you to know that I'm so grateful for your prayers and support, not only for me, but for Blessors of Israel as we continue to strengthen this important new ministry. And I want to encourage you, if you're watching this podcast for the very first time, to visit our website. You can do so at www.blessors.org. That's Blessors with an ORS.org. There you'll find our vision and mission statement. I want you to know why we do, what God has called us to in this important time, to stand with Israel and her people, to understand how to stand with Israel and her people in the latter days. Also want to encourage you to visit our newsroom. There you'll see curated news concerning Israel and the Middle East, and also you'll see original articles with a biblical perspective. Please make sure you also like this podcast, and if you haven't done so, subscribe to this podcast, whatever channel you're watching it from, and encourage your friends, family, your church members to also follow along with Blessors of Israel by subscribing as well. You can also follow us on Facebook, Getter, and X, and we truly appreciate your prayers and your financial partnership as we build this new important ministry. Remember, those who bless Israel will be blessed. Shalom, shalom.